Look, I know I said I was skipping this one on my community tab and in the comments section of my update at one point before deleting those, but I gotta do this one anyway. I just gotta. That, and I could not let this game beat me. I beat Lost Levels, I beat Star Wars Famicom, I can meet this challenge. So, let's get started. So after realizing Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels was so hard it would ultimately do to Mario's reputation what Trunks did to Frieza in Dragon Ball Z, they didn't want Mario to be some one-hit wonder if not a pariah after just captivating audiences worldwide with the original. They needed to make a sequel, because when a game's good, you make more like it, much to the ire of self-important twats. So Nintendo decided that rather than make a new Mario 2, they reskinned Doki 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 Panic with Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. For this review, I'm sticking with the All-Stars port on the Wii, mostly because every time you die in this port, you can switch your character, whereas in the original, once you picked a character, you were stuck with them until you beat the level. So the in-game story goes that Mario had a dream about going up a large flight of stairs, presumably after walking up and down Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, where a door awaits for him at the top, which takes him to SOCAILS, the land of dreams, which has been dominated by a wart who I am so glad that we never see again. So Mario decides to head into the Destiny Cave, which leads to the dream world IRL after waking up. This leads Mario, as well as Luigi, Peach, and Toad, who are there because arbitrary reasons, to travel through 20 levels divided by 7 worlds to beat Wart and save SOCAILS. Along the way, enemies will come in many varieties, none of which are from the first game. Instead, we have Shy Guys who just walk around, and get used to that, most of the enemies do that, like Tweeters, Ninjas, Porcupos, these Marshmallow Dudes, etc. I mean, the only notable enemies I can remember off the top of my head besides Shy Guys are Pitches because you need to hijack their magic carpets, Fanto who doesn't stop chasing you when you have a key for whatever reason, Sparks who are as annoying as Stan accounts, and Panzers who can fuck right off. At the end of just about every level, we fight the first ever trans character in video games, Birdo, coming in 3 varieties. The regular ones, which are most iconic, these red ones, which sometimes shoot fireballs, and the green ones, who only shoot fireballs and love to puppy guard your only means of attack, these mushroom blocks. I guess we should go over the items before we get into anything else. By pressing the B button near these patches of grass, you can receive a number of different items ranging in effectiveness. The most iconic item are the vegetables, which you can throw at enemies, and their shrimpy, more common cousin, the sprout, which always feel insulting due to their smaller hitboxes. There's also the bombs, which are used for breaking blocks and almost exclusively found underground, and are not really good for taking out enemies. You can also find a bomb which explodes just a few seconds after picking it up, and you don't want that. The shell item is probably my least favorite, since you only encounter it like a grand total of once, and even then it just disappears after it hits a wall instead of bouncing back. And lastly, there is the potion, which opens a door to subspace where every grass patch turns into coins after picking them up, and if you get it in just the right spot, you can get a mushroom, 2 in each level. The mushroom doesn't make you grow big, instead it gives you an extra unit of health. Yes, this game has a health system, and you shrink when you're at 1 hit point, but for some reason it does not shrink your hitbox. Anyway, there's also the aforementioned mushroom blocks, which are probably the most hit or miss item in my experience, and by that I mean they rarely hit their mark, and once they're gone, they get swarmed with enemies and are puppy guarded by said enemies, so you can't really get them back without taking damage. Speaking of items you don't need to plug, the POW block from the original Mario Bros. Is back and acts as a screen nuke. Only for enemies that are touching a ground or on the wall. Good for getting floating hearts, which appear after you take out 8 enemies. And cherries exist for you to get a Starman after every 5th cherry, both of which are incredibly rare after World 2. There's also the stopwatch, which comes out after every 5th vegetable plucked, but you rarely will encounter that. And when there's enemies and items, there are also bosses, and then there's only 3. There's Mouser, the Murine terrorist who likes throwing bombs that look right out of a Looney Tunes or a Tom and Jerry episode, and once you miss a bomb, you gotta wait for the others to blow up before getting another chance to grab the bomb and throw it back at him. There's also Triclyde, the 3-headed snake, which you just throw your mushroom blocks at. And then there's Fry Guy and Claw Grip, The only bosses I don't have footage of because I actually wanted to finish this game and not lose my mind. Yeah, by going inside certain pots in subspace, you can warp to other worlds, and it's my preferred method because it makes getting through this game a whole lot less painful. But no matter how you do it, there's also the fact you have to put up with World 5-1. Okay. Let's get it over with. This is the level that compelled me to skip it. This is the level that made me want to just completely skip this game entirely. First off, the level starts with needing to throw a shy guy riding on ostrich at a panzer. Then you need to head it into this cave where your faith in the level drains faster than I'm not even going to come up with a proper analogy for that. First, you gotta jump on logs, which it's fine, you did this since the first level, but then you gotta start jumping on these tiny ass fish as well as the logs, and then nothing but tiny ass fish. And then you gotta fight a green birdo. And this birdo guards your blocks and doesn't stop spitting fireballs. Once again, this is the level that made me want to skip this game. But I persevered and I realized I had to keep going. I had to keep moving, and I could not let this game beat me. You would think the worst is over, but eventually you reach World 7, where it just bombards you with enemies left and right, and there's nowhere you can catch a friggin' break. And on top of that, you gotta ride these albatross birds all the way back to the other side of the level. And on top of that, another green birdo, paired up with more sparks and more climbing up. And you wanna know the worst part? That's not even the last level. World 7-2, the final level. This place is a fucking maze, complete with birdo, Phanto, more sparks than there should be legally allowed, and to top it all off, there's Wart, who can only be hit in the mouth when it's open, and it only stays open for a split second before he starts blowing bubbles which somehow cancel the vegetables that you need to throw at him. This took me a while. This has to be one of the worst bosses that I've faced in a long time. Hell, Wart is probably one of the worst villains I've faced in a long time. I'm not even going to bother going as to why. You can figure it out yourself. I hate Wart. I hate him so much. Anyway, killing the bastard lets your character of choice finally rescue the inhabitants of Subcon, where they carry Wart to hopefully gut and skin him alive, never to be seen again. But then it's revealed that it was all a dream and none of it actually mattered. Another reason why I was considering skipping this one.
Graphically speaking, the game is really not that impressive. I mean, it's the same year we got The Legend of Zelda on the NES. However, this All-Stars port fixes a lot of the graphics and gives them some much-needed polish. Musically speaking, I can really only hum the main theme, and that's about it. Every other theme is just too atmospheric or just isn't catchy.
The only reason I didn't skip this one was out of pure spite. I wanted to finally be done with this game, so I never had to touch it again. And honestly, this game is just not very good in the slightest. I know that's like an unpopular opinion, but I just could not stand this game. When it wasn't boring the hell out of me, making me think about the many other better Mario games I could be playing, it was infuriating me and frustrating me with cheap enemy placement, cheap obstacle placement, starving me for extra health and extra lives. I know I didn't rank the Lost Levels because I really didn't think it deserved one. It was too similar to the first game. This one, however, does deserve a rating. This game gets a naked school dream out of 10. God bless. Anyway, next up is Super Mario Bros. 3, the Mario game many consider to be one of the best, if not just really, really good. Are they true to their word, or is this yet another overrated, oversaturated snore of a game? I think you know the answer, but it'll have to wait until next time. God bless. Oh, and before I go, I should also tell you that this game was actually re-released on the Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance in 2001. That's the version you should be playing if you have to play Super Mario Bros. 2 USA.